Well, now, this is a little strange. Oh, my God. Professor JL here. What's going on here? This is our Thursday review for the Wednesday Night Dynamite, and no Mikey tonight.
The Mikey finally took some days off after working in the salt mines of the YouTube algorithm and is not busting himself. So we're here causing our trouble and trying to satisfy the algorithm kraken, as it were.
Which lying to the audience right now because this is the Just Three Gents review, and there are two of us here on the Biconics Wrestling Podcast Network. We're so happy to have you all here. Professor, I'm happy to have you here from your lovely, now painted wall room.
I just moved the camera over a little, and now you can see the horrible paint job I did a few years ago. It's not too bad.
You know, green is a calming color, and that's very nice to have on this incredibly strange Dynamite. But before we jump into everything else here, we are live tonight on Twitch, on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live.
We're on the Twitch?
We're on the Twitch. We are broadcasting
fantastic.
on Twitch right now. So why don't you actually tell people we're on there? Maybe they come talk to us. We're extremely excited because basically we're here to go over AEW Dynamite 250. And that's going to be our comments, our thoughts, our opinions, kind of what it would be in terms of how we felt watching that show. And in general, you know, like where we are, because we're not journalists, we're not anything but an aggregator, and we really just want to be fans that talk about this type of stuff. So if you'd like to join us in that, please drop a comment, and any place you are, we'll get to those as well. You can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us on Twitch, be a Facebook friend, find us on Instagram at BC WrestlePod, and look at our Patreon on occasion, buy some merch, do all good things. Make it so Mikey can take a vacation one more time in a while. It's basically what it is.
Is that what we're raising money for? So Mikey can have a vacation once in a while. Yeah.
One man needs time off from the podcast network he started.
One man needs a break. I'm Batman.
On YouTube. That was the thing we also, totally behind the curtain here, why we chose to be fans of an art form that does not have an off-season is just beyond me.
Was it you and I were talking about that? We were talking about this not too long ago, where we're sort of like, yeah, it's kind of interesting how all these other sports where we could, you know, like, oh, next season, or we could talk this, or no, there's a pay-per-view every month, and we're in the seasons like everything else is in the seasons. Like, this is crazy. Yeah,
and it never changes, and that's the thing. Like we know that it's like a TV season and a sports season together, which is kind of what we have here tonight, because this is a big milestone for AEW. This is the 250th episode of Dynamite, which almost 5 years. That makes a lot of sense. And talk about, you know,
my phone exploded. Sorry, guys. Please carry on. Jesus.
I mean, we have a soundtrack, but apparently we need more. The big thing about this, Professor, that I noticed was that, you know, 250 episodes is a huge number for a new company. It's a huge thing overall, but it also states that it's been around enough. It's definitely known enough that we want to have it on our TV screens. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's been working hard to have longevity. Kind of like the first match we had, which went the full first hour of our broadcast.
Okay. So here's the thing. So a year ago, we had the Adam Cole MJF. I think that only went, was that a full hour? Adam Cole MJF a year ago, right?
They went the full time.
They went the full hour to a draw. So that last year was sort of, how's that not a match of the year candidate right out the gate? If you're going to go a full hour, we're already talking about it, because this is impossible to do as it is. So I didn't think they were going to do that again. Oh my God, this was incredible to me. And we could talk about the bits and pieces of this. There's so much stuff here to unpack. The first 15 minutes of this felt like a 1980s wrestling match. Like they did it on purpose.
Well, I mean, if you know you're going to be going 59 minutes and 58 seconds, don't you think, like, start that way?
Yeah.
That being said, with this, they went at a breakneck pace for a match like this. Like, you go back and compare this to the Iron Man match in the 90s, or even some of MJF's longer matches. This, once it put the gas on, didn't stop.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. MJF is great at doing all the nods to wrestling past, which is great and hysterical. And ripping the Simon Miller side was hysterical. Going into the crowd, hitting folks with water, like going full heel, traditional heel in a way, right? I'm not going to use my words. I'm going to do physical action to do this stuff to you. The crowd ate it up. Everyone got into it. And what was smart, and now thinking theater, they slow burned everybody. Mm-hmm. They got everybody ready for okay, this is going to be a paced out, kind of a nostalgic feeling match. And then all of a sudden they kicked it. And there's a 30-minute stretch here where it does not stop.
Well, and I'm going to say this on my own end from it. Obviously, they didn't announce this was going to be a long match. They didn't announce this was going to go the full hour. They didn't announce, I didn't even think the time limit on that thing until farther into it.
No.
I don't know about you, but my clue that we were going to have a long match was, I think, when we had the kick out of the first Oz Cutter. Because they had teased it and it didn't work. And that was the first one. It's like, oh, that's early in the match for an Oz Cutter.
Yeah.
We're going long, which
I agree.
Was huge.
There was a few moments there where it was sort of like, there's no way. This is as we got closer to that 30-minute mark, where it was like, we're coming up on 30 minutes. You, not to sound like this fan, but there was a part of me that was like, you proved your point. You two are in the top 5. I get it. Please don't hurt yourselves. Please take care of yourself. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, we're going to keep going. No, we're going to keep going. Like, whoa.
And props to Bryce Remsburg selling everything else going on with it and giving them leeway when they're going in the crowd and coming back out. I mean, for Christ's sake, watching a ostensibly 10-year-old girl being given the opportunity to whack him off on the chest.
And how happy she was. Like, I've done it. Hooray. Like, just rocked him. Oh, that was so... The trash can bit was out of nowhere was really, really super funny. Hitting the security guard with water. Just to see what he would do. You're just mean. And the guy just stands there like, really? I hate you. I make $15 an hour, man. Come on. And then we cut away. All of that shit. Oh, so Ospreay's shoulder, the work of that, popping that back in out of nowhere was just like, for anyone who knows people who have shoulders that do horrible things. You have shoulders that do horrible things?
I have popped my shoulder out hosting a burlesque show and had it pop back in by a dancer backstage and finish the show.
Did they do it in a mildly erotic way?
The amount of pain I was in, I don't know if it was erotic, but there was a lot less clothing that you would think for a medical professional to be able to do it.
I feel like if I had to choose between a burlesque performer and a chiropractor, I would probably choose the burlesque performer every time.
I don't know that they're not trained, but this person was. Either way, watching that was sold well. Taz actually bringing up the fact that does hurt on commentary. The oversell of the Panama Sunrise, basically stealing from Adam Cole, and that full-on flop.
The Will Ospreay doing a beautiful job of echoing the kangaroo kick, finding the guy in the crowd that had the kangaroo kick shirt, making fun of him, and then it comes back 30 minutes later, MJF's going for the kangaroo kick, and it doesn't happen. And like all these things, the universe kind of collides in matches like this.
Right.
And all the performers can really control is, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to bust our asses. I will say this, and if MJF had his time off, MJF is incredible. I'm not saying I forgot how good MJF is. That's not what I'm saying. If you had asked me before this match, can MJF match the pace of a Will Ospreay and the style of a Will Ospreay, I would have blatantly said, no, I don't think so. He would complement it, sure, and he would do it his way, but there's no way he's going to match the pace of that.
No.
And he pretty much did over and over and over again. There's a few stylistic things that they got over the hurdle of in the beginning. Just some of the catch wrestling stuff, which was still amazing to watch. But all of a sudden, MJF selling Will Ospreay stuff is hilarious and brutal and so good. It looks like his soul left his body 100 different times.
On both sides, really, yeah.
Yeah, just, oh my gosh. This was remarkable.
It seemed to me as if the two of them were like, I'm going to outsell you on every one of this until I can get the biggest pop from the audience because we're here for a full hour. Why not just take it all the way?
And there's a great moment where I caught it twice where MJF's picking up Will Ospreay and you see him whisper something into him, and you hear Will. You don't hear Will. You see Will almost smile, laugh like okay, and then they go and do something ridiculous like what? So they were having fun with this, you know, and it made me feel like the heat we got coming into this felt kind of arbitrary, and Daniel Garcia got wrapped into the whirlpool of it. Right. It was sort of out of nowhere. It's kind of petty, the audience thing. I still don't totally buy it. And the announce table was really trying to push it, and I get it. But he's still that goofy wink at the audience, I'm your scumbag guy.
Right.
And knowing now, seeing this, I know him and Will must be totally friends. Like they just were like, dude, let's go for it. And they did something amazing.
Now, as we cut to the end of this match, so that we're getting down, you hear the minute call, 1 minute left. And Ospreay has tried everything. He's tried an Avalanche Styles Clash. He's tried, the Hidden Blade on both sides. Yeah. He's tried to get the Heat Seeker a little bit, but it didn't work. They call it. He's in the position for the Tiger Driver, and he doesn't do it. And we go and get a new international champion with 2 seconds left.
Yeah.
Professor, one, was this the right call? Like, tease us with 2 seconds left before it's another draw. Oh, it's a draw on Dynamite 250. And two, does this set up for the rematch at Wembley?
2 thoughts here. One, I think it's not a botch by any means. I think the ref wanted to time it for the last 3 seconds. I think they were trying to get the 57, 58, 59. So they were off a little, but come on, you just busted yourselves for an hour. That's nitpicky. Yeah. But they really sold the draw, and in a way it felt more real for that. But you could see the ref was kind of like, damn, I didn't get back in time. I also think, I know we're heading for Wembley, I think this was a way to give Will a few weeks off. Take 2 weeks off, head to London with your family beforehand, go do promo there. We don't need you in the States for a little bit. Heal up some, rest up some. Yeah, like let's get you on some promos. The hype for this is here no matter what now.
Right.
Because he's amazing. I mean, the UK is on fire now, I'm sure. Like, can you guys believe what we just saw? Because MJF is absolutely over in the UK. We saw that a year ago. So the two of them and this just happening. So that I think they needed to give Will just a little bit of a breather. I think now he has something to fight for, right? I've just lost 2 titles, or potentially lost 2 titles. I've been in 2 title fights. I just lost 1 title, gained 1 title. So he's had this sort of juggling of titles the last month or so. So it gives him a fighting for storyline wise. We'll get this Don Callis thing now has a little bit more momentum.
Right.
So the build into this felt very shoehorned, like we say around here. However, the payoff of this is going to be amazing.
Oh, it will. And here's the other part of it. Will came out during the Swerve matches and saying like he needed to prove and show wrestling fans like no one's below or above losing to the champion, being around the champion. The champion should be beating you. So now that he's sent this title over here, is he going back against MJF for that at Wembley? Is he now going to be Swerve's opponent again to get that rubber match back? Like, what are we seeing with this? Do we feel like he has too many options going into All In?
That will have to cook in my brain a little bit. I think it's interesting. It's interesting having an American company with a lot of Americans defending an international title in an international place. There's something
well, then it's international to them.
Yeah, there's something like saying World Series. You know what I mean? Like it's not the world that plays. I think that's potentially interesting. I don't know. I think Will might have wanted. I think Will might have wanted a little bit more leverage on the creative. I think. How am I going about this? Where am I going? We're going back to Wembley. You're using my name to come here to do this. Well, here are the things I need. Okay, well, can we do it kind of like this? Like a few other folks have said, and I was reading about this. This could have been Wembley.
It could have, yeah.
This could have been any of the All Out, All In, All in the Family, whatever you want to call it, pay-per-views, right?
All together now.
Yeah, all together now. All disdain detergent. He could have done any of this, but the fact that it was done on a Wednesday night to honor that you've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah.
That there's something. I'm trying to think of a non-classist way to say it, but I can't. This felt very working class. This felt very, hey, you're a part of this. I'm a part of this. I saw this on a Wednesday night at 9:00. On basic cable or streaming or whatever, right? I didn't have to pay for this. I didn't have to set aside
pay for the cable package, but either way.
Yeah, or like AEW does. I didn't have to set aside a weekend to watch this at the end. You know what I mean? Like I could just go.
And that's the other thing to ask about this, John. We've been discussing for the past months that AEW's been kind of this flux of not knowing what its product is and not defining itself one way or the other and trying to be things it's not. Do you feel like Ospreay is pushing it in a way that it didn't want to go in the first place, which is instead of being a direct parallel to the other companies, this is the wrestling show? And is that good or bad? Like, do you want more push toward the middle to have more involvement in storyline to help set up these amazing matches? So they've never not had a bad match when it comes to it.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I think Will's pushing like, hey, you got to get folks in here with cardio. I can do this for 30 minutes. But I can do this for an hour. Like you don't need
built to that.
Say what?
Does he need now to build to that though? Because it's great to watch it if you know to tune in to see it. But if you haven't built it over a couple of weeks, you're not going to get the eyeballs on it until afterwards.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I could go either way on that, I think. I mean, I'm not saying that every Dynamite needs to have an hour-long epic at the beginning.
Right.
And some of these matches we've seen, some performers are great. They'll give you a tight 15. Some of them will be like, I got 6. I'll give you 6. Or tag like matches.
6, or like a regular 6.
Exactly. A Steven Regal Goldberg 6.
6.
You get 6 minutes. Don't mess this up.
Not like a Sean Waltman 6.
Or a Wes Anderson aspect ratio 6. I lots of jokes per second. See, we're going tangent again. We had no chance.
No, Mikey, we got to keep going.
We're going to keep going. So I wonder if Will is pushing for like, hey, get me more involved international style matches where we go and go and go and we power through this. Who can do it? Here are the folks that can.
Right.
And maybe that's the niche that AEW can use. I don't think I get the whole ratings thing and that there's this AEW's ratings are this and we're fighting each other and we're this and that. I don't put too much weight into that. I think it's more of give us something different. And we'll really know, and you and I have this conspiracy theory, and I absolutely think you're right. We'll really know if in, 2 months' time, all of a sudden on another promotion, we see an hour-long Iron Man match. And we go, you haven't done that in a long time. Mm-hmm. Interesting that you had 2 folks go and do an Iron Man match out of nowhere.
Oh, the difference is it's going to be Joe Hendry on NXT. Anyway, that's my conspiracy theory for this. We're going to finally move off this because this was the majority of the evening.
Right.
2 commercial breaks, all that great stuff. We give flowers to these 2 performers.
See, can this be the empanada rating? Can we do the empanada rating on this? Not what happens after this?
Go for it. What's your empanada rating on this?
If this was the empanada rating the first hour, this is a 10 out of 10.
I disagree.
What do you think it is?
I would give it an 8.5.
Really?
Yes, and here's my reasoning.
What? You're missing 1.5 empanadas?
I am missing 1.5. One, it got stolen by the rat that ran away with it right there next to Pizza Rat, but that's beside the point.
Fair.
While it was a technically sound and not very botchy match, while it told a great story in the ring, while it really built and built and built, it did not get to this place for me in time to I wasn't expecting this because it wasn't built toward. This 60-minute match came out of nowhere. I fully expected from the build they had done, we get a quick 15-minute match with a dusty finish to set us up for All In or write Will off TV or something else. Giving me this, while it's amazing and I can't knock that I wanted to see it, it wasn't prepared for me so that I could enjoy it because I couldn't figure out or be more drawn into the drama of the match. It was literally, we're going to show the hell off right now because it's the 250th. And while I get that you want to do it, if you wanted this to continue with storyline to All In, we needed a better setup of like, I have lasted longer than you in this company, or you're just a flash in the pan. You couldn't take me this long if you wanted to try. Oh, really? Let's just put an Iron Man match on a random Wednesday, see what happens.
I see. And you were kind of saying this a second ago. I see where you're going with that too. I don't disagree with that. I kind of like the curveball affected this too, where it's sort of like I'm expecting a 15-minute, 20-minute, maybe an interference thing. Maybe the title doesn't change hands because someone did something stupid or the Callis family shows up. And all of a sudden, like we talked about, at minute 20, we're like, hey, hang on a second. They're still going.
Right.
Minute 30, hey, they're still going. 40. What was there a time limit on this thing? And then the announcer's going, yeah, guys, there's an hour-long time limit on this. No, there's no way. 50. So you're right. Maybe they could have leaned on that a little bit more. Like, hey, there's something at stake if there's a draw here. So I do buy that.
Yeah.
See, now that you said that, I could go either way, but I'm not gonna. I'm still gonna say that this is all my things are shifting. It's still Will Ospreay in my top 3 matches for the year. My goodness,
Professor, I love it when you go either way. It makes it more fun. But the other thing I would have
ski team.
No, what I would love for this as well is if it had gone over the time limit and they had asked for the little extra time. That could have shortened another one of the segments that came afterwards that probably didn't need the time it needed.
That would have been
we'll get to
better.
in a second. But first, we finally get our first commercial break outside of a wrestling match, surprisingly, and we come back and we've got the Acclaimed backstage with unhinged, coked out Mark Briscoe talking about blood and guts. And you know what?
So good.
He's infectious.
He's
Briscoe
so good.
Turn anyone around in that possible way, Professor. Is Briscoe going to end up as one of your characters on ChatGPT wrestling promos? Which
absolutely. Just
on the channel. It's been on the channel for a couple of days. Please give us some likes on that.
Please go give a shout out to ChatGPT wrestling promos. We need comments. It's doing well. People are seeing it. It would be great to go into ChatGPT and just describe Mark Briscoe and just be like, "There's a guy who does all these things, missing teeth, is a chair," and then just see if it gives me a Mark Briscoe promo
from Delaware.
Exactly. Yeah, I've heard that too. Like, wait, hang on a second. He can do no wrong to me. Like they just give him the mic and go. However, he said whatever he said it like a shotgun at the very end, where he's like, and then walked off stage. Like, what are you doing? Incredible. I kind of like seeing Swerve and the Acclaimed together because I know they have kind of a history and they've worked together doing a handful of things too. So I think that's fantastic. This obviously sets up something that we'll talk about at the end. I kind of like Team AEW. That's a good group. Yeah.
It's a little jumbled. They're going to have to work for the next 2 weeks to get them cohesive. But after what happened at the end of the night, I could definitely see that it might be good. And it'll be interesting to see how the personalities meld together because the Elite are already showing their cracks in the armor.
Yeah. And Briscoe's kind of, that friend that you get 5 people in the car to go to the drive-thru, and he's that friend in the middle who's way more excited about it than the rest of you. Hi, everybody!
And he knows the guy at the drive-thru who can get you extra fries because he's good friends with him. He's just that guy.
I know my buddy. He works at Sonic. Let's go. And you're like, yeah, okay, great. We're on our way. Hey, you guys ever been in a car before? Yeah, I have. I'm driving.
Did you know now they have seatbelts with a shoulder strap in the middle there?
I did not know that. And then get
safe.
Locked inside. Keep going.
We're going to go. We're going to move on from Mark Briscoe. We have to move away from him because he's taking up too much real estate because we moved to the segment that I wanted to be shortened. Needed to be taken away, literally just a self-promotion with a good ending as the Learning Tree is out on our screens. Chris Jericho spouting his whole thing about how he's been on since the first AEW.
Yeah.
Meeting Little Rock and their violent, crime around there. I just can't. I can't keep digesting this, and him threatening it is just. It's not to the point where I'm like, I get the heat and I want to boo him. It's like I'm just bored.
Yeah. No, I agree. I still think Large Williams hysterical. That's just me laughing at big, tall, goofy human.
Huge Wilhelm. So good.
Because he knows. Even the announce table is over it. Like before, they were kind of leaning into it, and now they're just like, we're done. And I don't know if that's because they have an opinion and they're saying it out loud, or if they're actually trying to feed heel Chris Jericho.
Oh God!
What's really interesting about this is, and we'll see this in a second. We'll talk about what happens next, then I'll say what happens.
So they're running down stuff and saying how long they've been in with the FTW champion. They're going to continue to be this for a while, and Murder Grandpa's music hits, and we have a continuation. It didn't happen at Forbidden Door. It's going to happen next week on Blood and Guts. Minoru Suzuki has a contract for an FTW championship match, and he bans Huge Wilhelm and Brian Keith from ringside.
It felt like Suzuki was trying to end this promo as fast as humanly possible.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He did not want to be out there. I was looking up some, because like we've talked about in here, I was a fan of him back in the old MMA Pancrase days, actually, because I used to follow Pancrase out in San Jose and whatever else. So 25 years later, being like, you are amazing, it's great to me. But I was looking up photos, and there's a lot of photos of him with Jericho. They have a history. They've been training together for a long time.
They've known each other for a long time.
So great, fine, whatever. But even he walked out there like, I have a letter. Here's the letter. I headbutt you now. Bang. I'm going to go. See ya. Like, he was done. He didn't want to be a part of it.
To go fight on, basically, is what he had to do. So
Exactly. The headbutt he threw, I don't want to say it missed, but he definitely put some stank on it. He went to grab the hair, couldn't grab it, and went, okay, that's too bad. Bow. And of course, nobody wanted anything to do with him after that. It was like, I'm not going to touch you. So
no,
I think this match has the potential to be great and super awesome to see Jericho get destroyed. I hope they don't just squash Suzuki. That would be a mistake. It would be a small miracle if they gave him that belt. That'd be
hysterical, but they're not going to do it.
That would be so great, but they can't.
Yeah. No, they could. They could. Because if you have Suzuki available for All In,
yeah,
you take him to Wembley and have Jericho win it back.
I mean, I hate the end result, but that would be cool as hell.
And having Suzuki being basically in the mid card of a Wembley event would be insane.
Oh yeah, did you see Suzuki walk out in Wembley? Oh, the UK would be all over it. I mean, that would be incredible.
No,
yeah. If you worked for creative, you would get all the money.
Hire me, please. I'm trying to leave another job at this point that I need benefits for. So please hire me on. I'll write for you. I'll do whatever I can. My question for you, though, Professor, because as we've seen with this Jericho FTW reign, obviously there's a black bag that's going to be involved in the match. It's going to have something random to do with wherever they are, what's going on. Since we're in Blood and Guts, are we having a giant bag full of awful that's going to be on the ground?
I was just going to say, it's a bag of blood and guts. It's just literally...
It's a bunch of haggis.
Chicken and sheep parts. Blah, blah, blah.
I think that could work perfectly. Giblets everywhere.
I don't know what's in the bag. Where's Blood and Guts? Do we know the city?
I haven't looked it up. I can look it up while we're talking here if you'd like and see where it is.
Because there's got to be something like if it's Chicago, it's what? Hot dogs and pizza? Like, what are you throwing them onto?
It's going to be in Nashville.
So it's going to be. I'm going to drop you on a bunch of cowboy hats or
hot chicken.
A bunch of hot chicken. Hey, we're going to drop them on a bunch of hot chicken.
It's going to burn so bad. It's so good.
My skin. But then Suzuki just stops to eat the hot chicken. Rubs it in his eyes.
Love it.
I don't know what you would Nashville would you. Yeah, other than hot chicken or Dolly Parton records, I don't know. I don't think there's anything that you would really.
For everyone watching, what do you think they should have in the little black bag for Jericho that he would use to do stuff like he's had horseshoes and dice and everything else?
I think they should do a bag gimmick where it's Jericho has a bag and it's something weak, and Suzuki goes no, and then he opens his bag, and whatever's in his bag is horrifying.
I think that might work better, because then it's pre-put there, and it's like, he never knows what's coming, so that'll be fun.
It'll be so good.
So we go from that. We get out of that cluster schmoz, and we have a promo backstage with the Elite talking about how they're setting up for the match at Blood and Guts. Everything's kind of falling into place. They've got their other parts of the Elite ready, and it's such a good part. Mercedes Moné joins them to thank the Elite for banning and like setting her up for success. They make her dance, which was kind of icky. And then Okada just fawning over Mercedes Moné. And I'm like, are they putting a romance storyline together, or is this just like something just for the fun of Okada having a fun time here? I don't know.
Please do an Okada, Shibata, Mercedes Moné weird triangle thing where Okada speaks just enough English to get by, and Shibata has to use the phone to translate his words. And you could echo what's happening in another promotion and make it a satire, and that would be hysterical.
I would love that to death.
I don't, but, we're not creative. We don't make the money. I thought this was fine. It did feel a little icky, like, what are you doing? I do like heel Mercedes working with EVPs. It gives her something to do. It gives her something to push up against. I do like her as face, absolutely. But as we talked about for months on the mic, it was just sort of, what are you fighting for? What are you doing? What are you saying? As heel, she kind of redirects, and she could throw that out there a little sharper. So
yes.
I think this will be a heel run is great for her, especially a cowardly heel run, which we will be talking about shortly.
We will, especially because we're now going into the TBS Championship match. And one of our lovely people that have been watching sent this in part of it. Let's talk about how Monet stole the show.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
You are right. This was a well put together match, and Nyla was giving Monet every piece of real estate to play with.
Yeah.
She knew exactly how to set her up for the right stuff. And this is embodied to me in Mercedes trying to do a tornado DDT, Nyla stopping her. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
So good.
Flips her over.
It's
big heels, and this is great.
Fantastic matches here. They have a history. They've worked together a chunk. I actually went and did the homework because I was like, how have they met? They've done a handful of matches and trained together and stuff like that before. So this is great.
Yeah.
The crowd loved it. So big on you, Little Rock.
There was no visible speaking in the ring. They both read each other and went for it.
Yeah.
And took, the cannonball into Mercedes was ridiculous. The Meteora before that looked rough. Like, this was hard-hitting wonderfulness, and I was so happy to see Nyla Rose given more than 5 minutes to work with.
Absolutely. I was going to say that, too. Like, I'm glad that you're giving her a run. And so you're not just doing the, oh, look, we're putting her out there things. Like, no, she's talented. Give her stuff to do. And she's sold. She rocked Monet with some of those chops and shots. And Monet ate them. Ridiculously. There's that one lariat out of the corner. I think I already missed it on my playback. Where there was a little bit more momentum than I thought, and Nyla got her like right in the oh, you killed her. So good. It's fantastic. Did it steal the show? It complimented the show. It's some of the best work I've seen Mercedes Monet do. Absolutely.
It's still the second hour.
Still the second hour, yeah, because the second hour was
the first hour.
Yeah, this is the best match of the second hour. Sure, yeah. I think it was funny, and the only thing that I wish sold a little better was stealing Britt Baker's finisher and doing the CEO glove. I think the sell was that Nyla was biting her instead, and it was like that's why it didn't work. We kind of missed that. I don't know if we missed that because of the camera angle or what was happening.
It was mostly camera angle because they weren't prepared for where they had ended up. So
yeah, it's funny though because at the end she was like, "Ow, my hand!" It's like, "Yeah, she bit you." But
Nyla will, whereas Britt won't. But one of the stipulations was the Elite kept Britt Baker from backstage. She wasn't allowed to be anywhere to interrupt this match or do anything else. And I'm sorry, I'm so happy Britt's back. I'm happy this is going on. The two of them have such chemistry, but the person in the Sting mask cell was just kind of like, oh God. It wasn't pulled off well enough for me to be happy about it until she took the mask off and actually started doing stuff, because it just doesn't sell as well now because Sting is gone.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure. Okay.
You automatically know then that it's the wrestler, because if there was another mask, if it was a Darby Allin mask or something else, that might be something, but I don't know.
I think you're right. I think what gets it for me is the camera staying on them. Yeah. That's what it is. It's the camera stays here. Normally when the sign gets ripped up, the camera's like, okay, I'm not giving anyone publicity. Right. But this is, I'm going to rip up a sign. And the camera stayed there and pulled back in that Hitchcock zoom fashion. And I was like, why would you do that? Oh, look, there's a person there. Oh, I bet you that's Britt. Hey. So.
Hey, love you. I'm glad you're there.
She also kind of went a little too Terminator, I think. Just sort of, the thing was gone, and then just kind of went dun 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 dun. Like, okay, fine.
It's gonna be that's DMDDD, DMDDD.
Please, AEW creative, somebody make that DMDDD. Oh, that would be friggin' brilliant.
Jim Cameron would be so happy to have you take that music.
Throw that into some AI generator, make that happen. I like the Brits there. And we talked about this before. This cyclical, right? Everyone likes to do the, oh, creepy, where are they going to come out from? Oh, creepy, where are they going to come out from? Oh, they're wearing all black. Where are they going to come out from? Oh my God, they're in the crowd. There was, when I first started, there was about 6 months there where everybody had a ticket.
Yeah.
They're banned from ringside, but they bought a ticket. Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair. There was this havoc of like, yes, we go online, we buy extra tickets, and we get to see the show thing.
They probably got them comped. No, I'm just...
So I'm a little immune to this trope now because we've seen it. So if someone could usurp it a little bit and do something different with it, I think we got a shot. Make it a beer guy. Make it a beer here, and then it's the wrong person, and then they destroy him. Like
they dump the beer on you. That'd be even better.
Dude, yeah, like you could tweak this some, but
get him messed up. Get him all over the place and messy, just like our promo right after this. Brandon Cutler getting the full Mankind treatment thrown into the boiler room. This promo, though, why did we need this?
I don't know.
Jack Perry, you've done better. I don't get it.
I had to go back and find this because I skipped the commercials and then came back to this and went, okay. Well, why? And I get it. We're building for what we saw eventually. Sure. Kind of killed your momentum.
Just full on. And Brandon Cutler didn't deserve that. Like, I'd love to hear his side of it now because he's with the Elite. So why is the Elite beating me up there too?
Yeah, then there's that too.
Full Cabana to back him up.
Because didn't Derby just destroy him the other day too?
Yep.
Yeah, like wait, well, so why are we?
No. We then get our obligate one women's promo of the night as well. That is the only downside. We had one women's match, one promo. You think Timeless Tony Storm's coming out, and it took a little bit longer than you would think to realize it was Mariah May coming down to run down Tony Storm. Her promo was well delivered and well done. Little Rock was chanting her the entire time, and I don't know whether that was out of respect to her that she's over that much she gets the what chant, or they just didn't want to hear a woman talk because it's in Little Rock.
Yeah, I was trying to read the audience a little bit, which I shouldn't be because I should be watching the promo and the thing. I thought she delivered this beautifully.
Yeah,
I wonder if Little Rock, her whole walk-in was literally like, "Hey, Tony got taller." Like if they didn't get the joke yet either until
commentary was saying like it's taken Little Rock a little time to understand this isn't Tony Storm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a line in there about that too. And a lot of the folks from behind, I'm going to say this won't get us demonetized. They have a little bit of that. I'm glad my wife's not here face. There's a little bit of like, yeah, I'm watching it. Sorry, like there was a little bit of could have been 100 different thoughts and poses and things.
They were lost in the eyes and lost for a second.
Yeah, sort of in the which sells.
We got to the end when she was rolling around on the floor and it came up on the big screen and everyone was so happy about it.
So we've kind of gone full film noir, and now we're pulling back towards psychological, sort of early 50s, late 40s.
All About Eve. It's been a plan of All About Eve.
And now we're all in on, she's a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna get awesome. I thought this promo was great. I thought she delivered it really well. I think there's a few moments here where I think she was kind of waiting and baiting the audience a little bit, and she went, you're not with me? Fine. So she got, that's just an actor-y thing. But the camera shot of this is terrifying, of her and Tony in the background. It's almost like a wake, the way she's talking about her.
Yeah.
That Busby Berkeley. Thank
Good.
you. I couldn't even say it. Camera up, that sort of synchronized swimming look thing there at the end as we pull on away. Terrifying. Tony Schiavone kind of ruins it by just saying bitch just because. And I was like, shut up. Just stop for a second.
You're a 75-year-old man.
Stop. Tony, hang on. It's okay. Let the art happen. You don't have to talk about it.
Tony, there's one man right now on this entire show that can say the word bitch, and it is Okada, not you.
Or Shibata through his phone.
But we finally end our evening after this wonderful palate cleanser, and she did a great job leading into it. We have said person, Okada, taking on Swerve Strickland in a champion versus champion match. Professor, when did you know this is going to be a schmoz to build the blood and guts? Because that's obviously what happened about 10 minutes in.
They were really slow at the top of this.
Yeah.
Really hesitant at the top of this. And we've seen Okada be really sharp. And I know there's sometimes a language barrier and they have translators, I'm sure, and they've worked with each other a chunk. Okada and Swerve met 6-7 months ago. Didn't they have a match? Not within time scale of something? They met for some reason. Can't remember what it was. Maybe I'm crazy. That's for the internet. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Because I remember we talked about it. Maybe I'm crazy. But there was a really slow start to this. They're kind of pulling clotheslines and trying to find themselves. They knew the middle. They knew how to go home. They knew where that was going. When did I know? I had all of these. I had the suspect of, oh, you know what? I bet that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden it happened. And the bad one, again, the camera blew the lead, and we'll talk about that in a second. All of a sudden, it's like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? And then the camera pans back, and you go, oh, I bet you they're gonna, yeah, they did the thing. Okay. I didn't dislike this at all.
No.
This felt like it should have opened the show.
Yeah.
This should have opened the thing. Oh, we're opening with the title match. Then you would have got some momentum. And then you could have ended with an hour long, oh my God, that just happened. Instead of opening with the hour long.
But then Darby's up there for not as long. You want to keep him up in the rafters for as long as possible.
Yeah. Do you want to keep him up in the rafters as long as possible?
No.
Hanging there, like at any moment it's going to happen. Okay. God.
Guys, did we not learn our lesson years ago about this? I mean, Sting didn't have to hang up here this long.
Yeah, you don't need more white guy pinatas. Please just retire this thing. It's not safe. Please.
Some gringadas?
Is that the gringada? Piñata Blanco? Yeah, I don't know what you say. Gringada is more interesting, though.
It can be.
I can't say it. I'm going to get demonetized. Yeah, that's...
Swerve and Okada took it they took it to each other very nicely. I want to see this down the road. It definitely has to happen. But we have a schmoz as the Elite come out.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I think this was Swerve knowing they were going to get cut off.
Yeah.
So they didn't mail it in, but they were sort of hesitant knowing at any moment we're going to get cut off.
And we're not going to be able to follow the opening match anyways.
Yeah, so we're gonna not be safe. You can see that they have that punch exchange where Okada's wailing on Swerve and Swerve's barely touching his chin. Yeah. And even Okada's like, hey, yeah, hit me. Yeah. And Swerve still kind of touches it just to try and tamp it down.
Yeah. Cool it off. As we have the Elite hit the ring, attacking them, we have the rest of the Blood and Guts team that we know of, the Acclaimed and Mark Briscoe come in, go wild. We then have Adam Hangman Page making his way down, and there's a stare-off, and Okada pulls him out of the ring. And then Hangman gets pulled down by Briscoe. Everyone's wondering how this is going to happen. It's 5-on-4. How are they going to deal with it with the odds? Yeah. Darby Allin's music plays. They're looking for him, but they're getting pushed back by security at the same time toward him, so I don't understand how that worked.
That was funny.
And then Darby comes down with his back to them, not facing the right way, on the line, a la Sting from the rafters.
Yeah. Not the best execution of the thing. Especially because my instinct is, knowing folks that do harness and rigging and whatnot, it's that safety check. It's that sort of, the music plays, let him this happen, drop him. Well, right before you drop him, there's the last minute, okay, check. And until that guy goes, okay, you're good. And he's not going to let you go until then. You might have missed your spot. You might have missed your whatever, unless it's perfectly timed or whatever else. That's kind of how that felt. Because they were stalling. There was a good 30, 40 seconds there where they were like, look, security's here. Security's here. Why is security here? The music's here. What's happening? And then he's facing the wrong direction. And then Briscoe has to run up, and the hook's kind of stuck. So he's like, okay, there you go. Now go. And then he runs and fights him.
Yeah.
I know we're doing the homage to Sting. I know it's a spot that I haven't seen it work. Have you seen it work in the last
not
20, 30 years?
No. It's too dependent on exact timing, and in a Carney style thing like this, you can't have that exact timing anytime you want.
because it has, for it to work timing wise, it has to happen fast, and it's not safe to do it fast.
No, it's not. You want him to be safe. Trust me, and especially with them working with the Owen Hart Foundation, you want them to be safe.
So,
we know that Darby's going to take the insane bump during Blood and Guts. That's why they're saving him for this, making sure he's safe. And they've built a team on team. Do we feel like this is going to be an exciting match next week for Blood and Guts?
I hope so. I tend to hate these ridiculous 5-on-5, 6-on-6, 10-on-10 things. I will say, before we totally jump off the spectacle of Darby Allin, I think if I was in there live, I would have been all about it because I'm seeing the live spectacle in front of me. It doesn't always transfer through the camera to the TV or however you're watching it. So I think if this was live spectacle, I would have gone, oh my God, I'm watching this happen here, and I would have felt something differently. That being said, the match itself, I think they're pros. I think they'll be great. I think we've kind of seen this match, so I hope they don't do the same formulaic outline that we always see kind of sort of happen. Yeah. I don't know what the benefits of having AEW win versus EVP win versus what does that do for contracts in the greater scheme of things. They might have to find something there. Not that we need another you can never challenge or you're out of the company, but something to give me a little bit more, because right now it's a dodgeball.
Yeah.
Right now this is a rec league thing. Give me, what do you want to do this weekend? Let's all get together and we'll fight in the pool. Yeah, let's do that. Like, what's the stake for here? What's the storyline here that matters?
Pride and not getting hurt before All In.
I thought you meant like Pride FC. Like, oh, we're going for reals. My money's on Okada. Like, if we're gonna do this.
I don't know. Mark Briscoe might have taken some stuff beforehand.
Yeah. You have a coked up Briscoe in an MMA match. Those first 30 seconds, you're gonna get hurt.
Everyone's going to get hurt. Yeah. Kind of like we were watching this entire evening, because it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Professor, what is your empanada rating of Dynamite 250?
Well, like I was saying, the first half of this had me at a 10. I was like, this is a 10 out of 10 empanada rating. I totally see what you were saying about the build. I appreciated the curveball of the thing, because I went in thinking this is going to be a 15-minute meh, and this was an hour long. Holy crap, I just saw something historical that they'll talk about these guys. Right. You're right. The second half of this was sort of, we forgot. Like, where are we going? If they had flipped this, we might have had a different lens to look at the first half, and we would have gone, that's what they were building towards. This. But they kind of didn't. I love seeing Mercedes Moné get sharp again. I love seeing her work in there. The work that they have for that match, I thought that was great. We did kind of end on a action figure, let's put everyone in the pot thing. So this should be 10 and 9. It for me, it jumps down to 8.85. It doesn't go all the way down to average. We had a few average things in there, but this was still solid and fun, worth talking about.
I was also at an 8.5 as well, because the wrestling really helped with it and got us really involved in what we needed to. The promos, not so much, and the learning tree could have been left behind. You could have just had that as a video, or Suzuki bursts in on something. But
if you pull out that learning tree promo, it's probably a 9 for me, because you didn't need that.
No. But what did you think about it? Drop a comment down below. Let us know what your rating of the show was, whether you liked AEW Dynamite 250, whether you kind of got bored by the 9-minute match at the top. We'd love to hear from you here, and as well as subscribing to our channels on YouTube, on our Patreon. You can follow us at BC WrestlePod. Professor, thank you for joining me tonight and filling in, so we didn't have Mikey to be able to do this, but we'll get his ratings later. Thank you to everybody who's been watching and dropping comments down there. We really appreciated that. Check out ChatGPT Wrestling on our channel right now. The professor worked really hard on it, and his son gave him every bit of information for it. So really, it's mostly his video, not professor. So definitely check that out.
You're not wrong. I'm not wrong.
I'm not at all. But in the end, we just want to say to you, as we always with this, thank you for joining us, and thank you for doing what you can to spread us around, sharing our videos. But if nothing else, just remember, you always are Biconic, and just stay Biconic. And we'll see you in the next video.